So it's July 2nd, 2022. It's kind of an interesting day. July 2nd, I think, is a great day to sort of step back and look at your year so far, because it's the day that's the middle of the year. In a regular year, it's the 183rd day, and on a leap year, it's the 184th day. But on a regular year, it's dead center in the middle of the year. There's 182 days beforehand, and there's 182 days to come. So it's, we tend to look at January 1st and December 31st as 2 days to sit back and look at your year, even though they're essentially back to back. But what I'm doing is sort of a fountain pen recap for the year. So we're just going to look at some stuff, pens and ink really, that I've accumulated since the start of the year, January 1st. We're going to use the middle of the year as a good time to do it. I'm going to actually, start off in order. We'll look at inks and pens, maybe intersperse them a bit. I know the dates for each pen pretty much when I purchased them, but I sort of was a little careless with the inks and I didn't record specifically when I bought them, but I have them sort of in order, so I might do a pen, a couple of inks, pen kind of thing. And at the end of the video, what I'm going to do is the pen of the year so far and the ink of the year so far. I'll probably do another video once again in December, recapping, just looking back over the year and what I've done and what I've accumulated, and some thoughts and my favorites and my least favorites. Even though I don't tend to talk about my least favorites, there always are, your least favorites. So what I'll do is the pen of the year to date, July 2nd, and 2022. And anyway, so I'm just going to pause the camera, and I'm going to switch everything around, and we're going to look at everything, and hopefully this will be interesting for me and for you. I noticed one thing when I lined up all my pens, and it's like, yeah, that's not surprising. And when you see them, you'll notice what what I'm talking about. There's just this little thing here that kind of gives away my preference in pens. Anyway, I'm going to pause the video for a second. Thanks. So here we have set out on my table the stuff I've accumulated to date, July 2nd. In January, I went down to the bookmark with a good friend of mine, and we both were looking at pens. And the pen I had my eye on was this limited edition TWSBI the Vac 700R Iris, and they still had a couple in stock, and I got one with the extra fine, and that was the first pen I got this year, back probably early January, and I really like it. It's an interesting pen. It's a lot flashier than any other pen that I have that's not made of cellulose. So there's rather interesting rainbow finish on these pens, and I believe actually they're bringing it out next in the TWSBI Diamond. I believe I think they're bringing this out on another TWSBI pen. This finish, I could be wrong, but I quite like it. It's a nice pen. It's a large pen. Very nice writer. I did do a little smoothing on the nib, because when I first started using it, I noticed that there was a slight resistance to the nib, not necessarily scratchy, almost like a chalky feel, probably due to the finish of the nib. So I took a little bit of micro mesh, and I just did some, you drop, I put a little water on the micro mesh, did some figure eights, tested the pen, smoothed it out, got it working to my satisfaction, and I've been very happy with it. It's a big pen for me. I tend to, because I love vintage pens so much, I tend to use smaller pens, and I like smaller pens. But this is nice. It doesn't cap particularly well. That's another thing I like. I like to be able to post. I shouldn't say it doesn't cap particularly well. It doesn't post particularly particularly well. I like to post my pens, but otherwise it's a great pen to write with. It's a fun pen. I have inked it up this year with Private Reserve Tanzanite, and that matched the pen perfectly. And I just decided to change things up recently, and I put diamine writer's blood in it, and it too is really nice in this pen. You know, I like to, because it's so colorful, and it's lovely to see the barrel and, you know, see a bright ink in there. I wouldn't want to put a black ink in a pen like this, personally. So actually, let's just address something here. I notice when I lined all these pens up that I have a lot of black and gold pens. So yes, I've talked about this before. It wasn't something I was consciously aware of until I was doing some videos over time, and I really started to notice that I like black and gold pens. And they just, I don't know, it's just me. Maybe my taste will change. I do have pens that have more color to them, some pattern and stuff like that, but when I look at my pens, black and gold is something I notice right off. The next pen that I got, actually, before I go on to this pen, so I got the TWSBI, and then oddly enough, February 7th, I did a video. I was working on a pen, and I thought, you know, this might be fun just to record this. I was swapping a nib out of a Waterman, and I was putting a Kaweco nib in it because I was just trying to see if it would fit. I have an old Waterman, and I had the nib on it I didn't like, so I just thought I'd put a modern nib in it, and the Kaweco nib was the same size. So I did a video of me doing that, and that became my first YouTube video, and that was February 7th this year. So it's kind of an anniversary, halfway, you know. No, it's not really an anniversary today. February 7th will be an anniversary. But it's kind of nice to, the next thing in my pen journey was a YouTube channel. So here we are, over 100 videos later, me talking about the pens halfway through the year. So the next pen after the TWSBI and after my YouTube channel was this Reform 4388. Reform is a West German company, no longer exists, but they made some really interesting pens. Usually they're known for student pens, but they made different levels too. This is a lovely pen. It's called the 4388, but it's also referred to as the triangle pen because the tip of the cap and the finial, or the bottom of the barrel, are triangular shaped. It's a piston filler. I love this pen. It's a nice little pen. Still a bit of work I should do on it just to fix it up, but great pen. Next pen I got was sort of a grail pen in a strange way. A Conway Stewart 106. I've been trying to get myself a Conway Stewart for a long time, and I kept on failing miserably, and I got this rather lovely 106. And Conway Stewarts are very well known for, the vintage Conway Stewarts are very well known for beautiful colors and lots of patterns and things like that. But I was lucky enough to find this lovely 106, and it writes smoothly. Really interesting pen. Yeah, it's lovely, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Next pen I got was a Reform, actually, and I don't know the number of this. Usually Reform pens have a number. This is just marked Reform, and so it's not numbered, but it's a nice looking pen. It's very light. I would say it's a student pen designed to look like a more expensive pen. But once again, I like collecting certain brands, and I have a few Reforms, three Reforms, I guess. And you know, I'm keeping my eye out for something else that'll catch my attention. And it's nice to have it in my collection. It's a lovely writer. It's a great pen. Ink-wise, the next couple of inks, the first couple of inks I got this year, and I actually haven't purchased a lot of ink, were the Sailor Gentle Ink Sky High. I quite like this blue, and Sailor Gentle Ink Grenade. Sailor Gentle Ink is discontinued, but they're a nice sized bottle, and lovely inks, really nice. Because I was trying out different sailors, I went down. I got these at the Bookmark. I got this other sailor here, a smaller bottle, and it's called Udaki, and that's kind of the color there. Very nice ink. And I'll probably get some more sailors. It's a small bottle. Nice inks. I have to be honest. Diamine is probably my favorite brand, and I'll show you what else I'm quite liking. But yeah, Sailor ink is nice. I like it. So the next pen I got was a Salami CP1, and I got this I got on eBay, and I was surprised by how good condition this pen was in. It's a nice little pen, lovely writer, typical Lamy nib. You can swap that out quite easily. Very slim, sleek pen. Very nice, very nice. For the first time ever, I found it almost too slim for my hands, and Jane quite liked this pen, so she has it now in her collection and uses it every day practically, and it's one of her favorite pens. She just likes the feel of it. It has a nice feel to it. It's a great pen. So that's the Salami CP1. That'd be, and I'm a big Lamy fan, and they're lovely pens. Next pen would be Pelican Silvexa, Pelican 12 Silvexa. So classic vintage pen from the 60s, I guess. Yeah, and it needed a little bit of work on the nib. I had it. It was the tines had been sprung. It was slightly separated. So with a bit of careful coaxing, I managed to get the tines back together, and it writes quite nicely. It's a very wet writer. Almost a bold line, smooth, beautiful pen. Sort of how would I describe it? It's the first cartridge converter that Pelican made, I believe. Before this, they had the Pelicano, which is a student grade pen, and it was very popular, so they just made a higher quality version of the Pelicano. And you do notice it when you pick this pen up. There's a beautiful resin body to the pen. It feels nice, and it's kind of luminous. The Silvexa cap is very nicely made. It's very durable. It just feels right. It's just a lovely pen, and it's the only Pelican I have. So the next pen is a GEJA 708. GEJA is known for making student pens. West German manufacturer, no longer in existence. They were making all kinds of nice pens. Student pens are often very good writers because you don't want a student using a pen that just doesn't write well. So, very nice writers. This is a piston filler, of course. You turn the knob and there's a piston in it. It fills up. It holds a lot of ink. GEJA was known for having a little button right here. You can't really see it at the moment because it's pushed down. But when you fill it up, a little button pops out, and the idea being there's a reservoir inside the section, and when you run out of ink, you push the button down, and you just have a couple drops of ink left to finish your writing. Just a way to separate them from all the other pen companies. It was just a little gimmick, really. Kind of fun. So the next pen is this pen. I don't actually know what it is. Someone suggested that it's probably a GEJA. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it's a West German pen. It has, though, a very nice George Peter Rupp nib in it. Very nice nib. So maybe that was put in this pen later by the owner. And the thing about that nib, it has just so much character to it, springy, a little bit of flex, beautiful flow. It's just just a beautiful pen to work with. Very smooth. And as soon as I started writing with it, I was like, I sort of, I wasn't expecting much when I got this pen. But as soon as I started writing it, I stopped and I was like, okay, something is very interesting about this pen. And it was the nib. It's hard to define it, but it just wrote beautifully. And it's a vintage nib, of course. So compared to a modern nib, it just feels so soft. A little bit of spring to it, a little bit of flex, gushes ink, but it doesn't, it's just a wonderful pen. Sadly, I don't know what the brand is, though, of the pen. The next inks I got, so I went and got some Pilot Hirashizuku, and this is the Konpeki, beautiful blue. I really like this blue. Lots of character, bit of shading to it, or yeah, it's you get a lot of nice line variation with this ink. Very nice, easy to read. When I say easy to read, certain colors are like yellows and things like that, or pinks. They're hard to read sometimes. They're too light. Some oranges are like that too. They're too light and they're hard on the eyes. And this is a nice, beautiful blue, and it's easy to read, and it's lovely to write with. A nice flow, wet, great ink. And the next ink I got was Hirashizuku Sakushi. This one is no longer being made at the moment. It's been discontinued, but it's a beautiful brown. When you're writing with it, it starts out dark and then it dries to a lighter color. Quite nice ink. I really like it. And I have it in a couple of pens at the moment, and I'm using it. And the pen I have it in at the moment is this here pen, which I got in May, and it's the Pilot Custom 74. I got this from Pensachi in Japan. Reason I ordered from Pensachi, I've been looking around for it, and it was a birthday pen, and I wanted something, in the Pilot range, and I was thinking of the 74, but there were more colors available through Pensachi, but also a big selection of nibs. And what I got was a soft medium. I was tempted to get a music nib, and maybe someday I'll get a music nib. I'll get another 74 with a music nib. But I went with the medium, the soft medium, and I haven't regretted it. It's a beautiful writer, beautiful pen, black and gold. My favorite colors for some reason in pens. But anyway, it's a beautiful pen. Next inks are two. Actually, no, that's not how it goes. The next inks was a sample pack of Ferris wheel press charger pack of Ferris wheel press inks. I hadn't actually gotten into Ferris wheel press inks, and one of the reasons why, and one of the inks is in here, is this red. I found from what I had seen that I found them a little not weak, but a bit, thin looking in some ways to my eye. I like intense colors, and so I picked up this charger set to try it. Pumpkin Patch, I'm not particularly fond of. It's too orangey, too pinky for me. It's hard to read, I find, for my eyesight. But the other colors, Jelly Bean Blue and Tanzanite, I believe it was, are quite nice inks. And I like those too. And I haven't really used them that much. I just dip them in, and when I'm inking up a pen sometime in the next little session I'm doing of inking pens, I'll probably use the Tanzanite there. And that leads me to these two colors. I went down to the bookmark and I picked up a bottle of Roaring Patina Black. And I did not regret this black. It has a beautiful sheen and shimmer to it, kind of a gold color. And as in different pens, it reacted differently. In a more broad line, it really took on a coppery tone as the as the ink dried, and it really developed a patina. In a finer medium or a fine nib pen, it's very nice too, but it's very black with just a hint of the shimmer to it, and so it works quite nicely in different pens. It works quite differently in different pens. Really nice ink. I haven't had any problems with it in any of the fountain pens we've tried it in. It doesn't seem to clog up anything, so it's very nice. And yeah, I don't know if they're going to make this a regular ink. It's I believe, just a special edition. But I think they should continue to manufacture this ink. It's a great ink. I love it. It's a beautiful ink, and it's a black ink with just with a bit of character to it. And I went and I also, after trying that, they're black, I decided to try another couple colors and or another color, and I got the Peter Moss green, which is a very nice mossy olive green. Very nice. Yeah. There's not a lot of sheen to it, and there's no shimmer to it. It's just a green ink, and it's olive colored. Looks really nice. I like it a lot. It's a lovely ink. And the next pen I got is just this little platinum Preppy, and I wanted to put, we've had other Preppies around the house, and I just picked up this one, and I wanted to eyedropper it, and I put in some Jacques Serban Emeraude de Chevert. Excuse my French, it's terrible. But I put a shimmering ink in it, and I just want to see how the pen endured. And I really like this pen. And it's great with shimmering inks because, well, it's a clear barrel, it's full of ink, and you can see the shimmer as it settles if you haven't been using the pen, but you just slosh it around a bit and it goes through. It sort of mixes very well and doesn't seem to have clogged up the feed. I got the 05 medium, and it's really nice. Platinum Preppy are an inexpensive pen, but they aren't cheap. Cheap versus inexpensive are two different things, I think. It's what, $6-7, but it's not a cheap pen because it's so well made. You could actually say that there are pens that cost hundreds of dollars that aren't as good as this inexpensive pen. It's a smooth writer. It's a nice looking pen. It's reliable. So far, it hasn't false started, dry. It hasn't. As soon as I pick it up, it writes. So it's better than some very expensive pens. And it's quality, inexpensive quality made. It's a great pen. So the last pen in the list is the most recent, of course, and that is the Aurora Ereta Lusso, and it's an odd little pen. Aurora is an Italian manufacturer, and this has a perfectly flat nib. There's no curvature to it. It's perfectly flat. Bit of spring to it, but it's a hard nib, which is kind of interesting. When you're working with it, you can feel the writing with it. You can feel the nib just moving slightly, like a little flow to it. But at the same time, you also get the feeling that if you were to write on carbon paper, this would work perfectly well on carbon paper. So it's an interesting nib. It's an interesting design too. If you look at the Salami CP1 and the Aurora, you can see this late 60s, early 70s design trend for slim pens. I think this was before the CP1. Very interesting design. Got this once again on eBay, and I don't think it's been ever used. Doesn't seem to have any marks or scratches on it for a pen its age. The nib was in excellent shape, smooth writer. Great surprise. And I'm very pleased with this little pen. I'm still experimenting with it and writing with it every day, of course, and trying it out. And I haven't been disappointed in this pen. Beautiful pen. So, if I had to pick my favorite ink so far this year, I would, my favorite ink of all the ones I had bought, I would go probably with the Ferris Wheel Press Roaring Patina Black. The Konpeki Irashizuku would be my second choice for my favorite inks of the year. I really like the Roaring Patina Black. Great ink. My least favorite ink would have to be the Ferris Wheel Press Pumpkin Patch. It's too washed out for my eye. And, but, so when I buy in the future, it's good to know, it's good to pick these things up and do swatches on them and just look at them and see what you might like and what you might not like. So I'm going to, probably get more Ferris Wheel Press. There's a couple colors coming out fairly soon that I'd like to get, but I'm going to avoid the lighter colors, and I'm going to just go with the more intense, darker colors that they have. So that's my favorite inks and my least favorite ink. Least favorite pen. That's a tough one. You shouldn't ask myself that, should I? Which is my least favorite pen? Oh, I really like all of these pens. I feel quite lucky in what I got, and I'm happy with my choices. Probably the GEJA would be my least favorite of all these pens. My second least favorite would be the Reform. They're both very good pens, very nice pens. But in this context, which is my least favorites, those two would have to be that, even though I still really like these pens. So, this is a little bit redundant asking which is my least favorite pen, asking myself that because I like them all. But the pen of the year so far, if I had to pick the pen in here of all the pens that I've accumulated so far this year, the pen of the year, of course, and it's not hard to guess. It's the Custom 74. It's just an amazing pen. I love this pen. It writes so beautifully. It's a nice looking pen. It's got a great size to it. My cat is here. She's agreeing with me. She's trying to knock everything over. She's doing a great job. So yes, so far, the pen of the year is the Custom 74 with a soft medium nib. Now, at the end of the year, I'm probably going to do a recap video, just run through some stuff. It'll be interesting to see if this is still on that list as the pen of the year. What is my pen of the year? Well, the Custom 74 with a soft medium nib. So far, the middle of the year is in the lead. I have no idea what I'm going to get next, pen-wise. I have no idea what's going to catch my eye in the next little while, ink-wise. But that just gives you an overview of what I have been into this year. There are some other pens that I haven't included here because they're more parts. I got them on eBay, and they're parts. So I'm not including them here. They're not really working pens, but this gives you an overview of what I've been up to. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. It was fun to do. I enjoy making these sort of videos where I sort of go through things, like making lists and things. Anyway, if you liked the video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. Really enjoying doing the channel. It's a lot of fun. I had originally thought about doing a live casting, whatever you call it, doing a live video for July 2nd, but I decided not to, mostly because the camera on my computer doesn't look very good. So I just someday we'll do that, though, a live stream, but we'll have to get better equipment. But anyway, that's in the future. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.